You are listening to the IFH Podcast Network. For more amazing filmmaking and screenwriting podcasts, just go to ifhpodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to the Successful Screenwriter podcast, where we discuss anything and everything screenwriting. Here we interview successful screenwriters and filmmakers to find out just what it takes to make it in the industry. All right, welcome to the podcast. We have Molly Cash, Director of Operations, and Craig James, the founder of the ISA. Thank you for being on, guys.
Oh, thanks for inviting us.
Hi, thank you so much. We're thrilled.
Well, I wanted to reach out because I love to talk about resources for screenwriters that can help take them to the next level. And, I started out the ISA a long time ago. I've always liked what you guys have done. And I just want to kind of talk about how writers can leverage the ISA to really kind of get their screenwriting going in the right direction.
Sure. Something we hear a lot from our members is, wow, there's so much on the site. Where do I start? What do I do first? And there really is. It's such a great resource hub. First and foremost, I tell people go on and get a profile set up.
Right.
It's easy. It's free. You can load everything from your screenplays to your successes, awards, posters, pitches. Some of that is available to everybody. Some of it is available to our upgraded ISA Connect members. But as much as you can put on that page, it's like an online calling card for you, right? You can direct people to it.
You're absolutely right about this. So I wrote a book called The Guide for Every Screenwriter. And one of the things I talk about is branding yourself as a screenwriter. And one of the sites I recommend is the ISA, specifically for building out that profile. And it's because you guys have a killer SEO engine. It's unbelievable. So,
thank you.
So I always tell people, if you can't be Googled, you don't exist right now, right? So if you go on the ISA and you make that profile, and then you get search, you come up, your Google profile comes up right there from the ISA. And the really cool thing is with your awards, is if you put in the awards as well, what you've won is like free bragging right there on Google. Yeah, it's really cool stuff.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because I was searching a new writer just randomly on Google, and their profile came up and the first thing that showed up was their ISA profile. I should have searched the members catalog first, but searching Google, I found their profile just by clicking their name.
It's brilliant. It's a beast. And so you guys also do community stuff. I've actually had the honor of being part of a Third Thursday. I got to be a special guest at one of them. But I'd like to, I know right now we're in the middle of a huge pandemic, so I'm sure Third Thursdays are probably taking a different type of approach. Are you guys, can you talk about that and what it is and maybe how it's changed?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started Third Thursdays 6-ish years ago as a way to bring the community together, to have screenwriters congregate, meet each other, form relationships, friendships. People that they can carry with them, somebody they can talk to when something doesn't go their way, or share successes with, just this camaraderie, right? To form that. When COVID came around, we pivoted quite rapidly. We were supposed to have a March event, and the week before we said, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do this. And then sure enough, everybody locked down. So we brought it all online. And it worked out really well. The upside is that we have people all over the world now joining those events.
Okay.
And we've been doing more of them. Instead of just once a month, we've done now an event a week.
Oh, wow.
One is Third Thursdays, but then we also have been doing classes.
Okay.
Pilar Alessandra just did a class with us yesterday.
Cool.
Jen Grisanti, Jess Hines, a lot of different consultants come in. And then we also do events, Q&A sessions with well-known writers, directors, producers, managers. So basically offering a lot of free content to our members in our community so that they can learn and be inspired. We're really all about inspiring. Yeah.
We certainly like to get back to some of the live events and getting people to networking. And I know that's a dirty word in the world sometimes, networking, but just getting, like Molly was explaining, just having the opportunity to meet people in your own community, because that's how you break in. That's one of the greatest ways to breaking in, is to build and form relationships. And whether you're in Los Angeles or we had, Third Thursdays in London, and there were 22 or 23 cities across the globe. And that was going to expand to 30 to 35 in 2020 in theory. But I mean, we do want to eventually get back to that in late 2021, where you can get out and meet people, because that is, like I said, a fast path to breaking in, is to form relationships with your own community.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, networking is kind of that secret sauce to making it as a screenwriter. It really is. And you could call it a dirty word, but it's just the truth of the industry. And being able to do that through the ISA and form those relationships, and you guys are able to provide that as a platform, I think is fantastic in your the network. So from there, you guys are offering, like, I know there's a gig section. Is there anything else going on where writers can kind of find gigs or find that path to breaking in?
There's so many ways, and this is one of the things we're working on over the next 9 months, is rebuilding the site, and with some onboarding. I think that's how where it kind of guides you, depending on where you are in your career, with new dashboard and all these things, so that you will be kind of driven towards articles, advice, events that are local to you or online, but also give you a path to how you get on our development slate. Awesome. Because Development Slate is kind of like a de facto management company. We aren't managing you, but we are your next support, a bridge between that being undiscovered and getting managed. So our Development Slate has tremendous value, but how do you get on the Development Slate? And there's a number of different ways to get recognized by our development team, whether it's through you're building your profile, and adding those awards and success stories, because we read everything. Everything is getting read as far as the success stories. But we also look at the awards. So if you're winning awards on a regular basis, even if you're getting quarterfinals, if we see your screenplay popping up from time to time, that title and your name, we're going to take notice. That gets you on our radar. So that gets you considered again for our development slate. But just being an ISA Connect member. But even so, you don't have to be an ISA Connect member. We encourage it because we believe it's one of the greatest offerings in the screenwriting world. Is more value to you really than your Amazon Prime account, at least as a screenwriter.
Right.
For $10 a month, you get all sorts of stuff, and you get more quickly on our radar, because with 100,000 people, 100,000 screenwriters on our email list, you can only imagine how many are asking us to look at their material,
Oh, sure.
So it takes a lot, but if you're participating in the screenwriting world, not just in our community, but like you're going out there and you're getting some success stories, even if you're having a table read of your script, if you're going to events, participating wherever you can, anything that you can talk about, or if there was you had a general meeting, let's just say you got a general meeting through a friend, right, and they're interested more in your content, that is a success story. That's something you should be proud of. It's something you should post on our site. We will take notice and we, like I said, we do read all the success stories. So there's a lot of value in just participating, and with the Zoom world now, and with where we're at, like I said, the people get a little fearful of the word networking, but it is about getting on our radar, you know, and whatever way you can do that, even submitting, practicing a pitch online, like on your cell phone. We have a pitch challenge going on right now. It's 100% free.
Cool.
For everybody. You pitch your script to camera, your iPhone, do it at home, do it 1,000 times until it's the perfect version. We don't need to know you did it 999 other times. So show us your best pitch in 90 seconds for your favorite story, the one you're most passionate about, the one that only you can write, the one that we see in your eyes that this story must be told. Practice it. And this is a great thing to just be practicing on a practical level, because if you're in the elevator pitch is a real thing. If you're meeting an executive somewhere in the world when we're in the safe zone, you need to have refined your pitch and be ready. So use it as a technique to practice your pitch. But also, who knows if there's not something on there that is so amazing that we're like, holy crap, this is a great idea. You'll get to pitch it in front of executives in November at our Third Thursdays event online. And we've already had people signed by management because of their pitches from a free pitch event. So we do these sort of things on a regular basis. There's tons of value that you can get from our site. You just have to be proactive. And gigs are a valuable platform. However, this is like auditioning and going out for any kind of job. Jobs are not easy to get. Probably easier to get today because whatever. The world is crazy, and anybody who's looking for help. But when you're pitching, when you're submitting to an executive, or like I say, I compare it to auditioning, you have to fit exactly what they want, and that's not an easy thing. So people do rely on our writing gigs as the only value to the ISA Connect membership, but that's not the only value. And you just have to wait for the right timing for your script, or to improve your log line, improve your pitch, improve your synopsis, and therefore make sure your script is ready to go out by getting notes, investing in your career as much as you can afford to. And even again, you can practice your pitches and do all these things, but don't rely on, submitting to 1 or 10 gigs and thinking that you're just going to get, my script is perfect for them. The industry pros know what they're looking for and they know what excites them. So you have to trust that.
Yeah.
And know that even Brokeback Mountain and Schindler's List and some of the greatest Oscar-winning movies ever took time to find a family.
Yeah.
And they took time to fit the market and be ready to be told. So there's a whole lot that goes into this. We want to encourage you that an active participant on the site in all areas is how you really get noticed.
Well, I think the personal touch aspect that you have in it and your passion for it really comes through. So the fact that you guys actually read the successes, I mean, I didn't know that. I think that's fantastic. So that you can really kind of build out your profile that way. Now, as the director of the Script Summit Screenplay Contest, the ISA actually sponsored us this year. And so you guys gave away awards to several of our winners, and the awards was a free membership. And I've got nothing but positive feedback from our people at Script Summit. They love it. They love the profile. They love everything about the ISA. It was one of the reasons that kind of motivated me to go, okay, I need to reach out to these guys and kind of pick their brains a little bit. So I got to tell you, one thing I love is that you offer the pitch and you offer it for free, because there has been a whole kind of like a subtle predatory thing behind paying for pitches that don't actually go anywhere and you don't actually get anything out of it. And it just kind of milks a screenwriter for money. But I respect so much that you guys just offer that for free. And then if somebody does really well, they can get the opportunity to pitch it to a pro. That is fantastic. I really thank you so much for offering that to the community, guys.
Just wait, because we have even more stuff coming soon.
Well, see, you can't say that to me and not expect me to ask you what's coming. I mean, can I get hints on that at least?
This podcast is brought to you by thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com, where you can find instructional books, videos, courses, and screenplays of Hollywood's biggest hits to download. As an added bonus, visit www.thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com to download the Guide for Every Screenwriter for free. Yes, free. Available exclusively at thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com. Now, back to our show.
Well, it's going to be another part of the platform where you can put your pitches on. If as an ISA Connect member, you can already add them. All right. So
okay.
In addition to your log line and your posters and all that stuff that you can add a pitch. And if an industry pro wants to see your pitch, all they do is click a button to request it. And you either make it available, or once they request it, then you can make it available. So It's like you have a lot of safety in who's looking at your content. You can control that. Yeah, we're creating a whole nother section of the site that's being built over the next 3 months that will be focused on the pitching area. And so producers who just prefer to hear pitches will be able to go through and see hundreds, thousands of pitches and not have to worry about necessarily going. They'll be able to see the log line, to be able to see all that stuff. So we're diving into that as another way to get noticed and to make it a more obvious part of the site.
All right. So will that be a written pitch or
There'll be both. You'll be able to do one pagers, or you'll be able to do a video pitch, whatever you're most comfortable with.
like right on your cell phone, no problem. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. We want everything to just be really accessible. I mean, that is the key, because I think unfortunately, we live in a world where there are some unscrupulous contests.
It's the truth of the matter. It's just is what it is.
It's part of the reason that you launched the ISA in the first place, right?
Right.
I mean,
to
cut through all of that.
Yeah. How do you know? It's like, how do you know who's fair? And even some of the majors, right? You submit and you pay a big fee to enter, and then you might not get feedback if you didn't request it or they don't offer it.
Yeah.
And then you spent $700-800 in entry fees. You don't hear much back from anybody. And it's very easy to give up, but you may have a very unique voice. And because no one's encouraged it, it's easier to say, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Waste of money. They're all scams.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're not. There's a lot of really great ones. Clearly, you guys, and that because we vet everybody that's on our site. So you can't even post on our site unless we trust you. And then, you're submitting to contests that ideally you're asking for feedback as much as possible. That's something I always, it's like, I would rather you submit to 4 contests or 3 contests and get feedback than submit to 10 or 12 and not get any feedback, because you need to get something from the system instead of just a no.
Yeah.
You want to know why you got to know.
No, I think,
so
I think better. I think value is important, and there are festivals that offer more value than others. Some festivals you're not getting anything. Other festivals like Script Summit, you have a chance of winning money or even winning, getting represented by a talent manager. So, what kind of value really are you bringing to the community? And the ISA is bringing a ton of value. Really, is kind of what's awesome about it. All right, so we've covered gigs. We've talked about these future pitches, which sound awesome. Sounds very similar to the screenplay issue, where you can upload your screenplay, but now you can upload a pitch, which is pretty cool. We've got the profile thing down. What else is there? What am I missing?
There's a lot of free content. A lot of free content.
What kind of free content?
We have podcasts. We have pro tips and tricks, which are videos that range from us being on red carpets and talking to A-listers and getting some advice, to the online events that we're doing now. They all go up on there. So there's classes and Q&As and all of that.
Wow.
There's over 750 videos up on that site, on that page.
Some of which are ISA Connect, or you have to upgrade for some of them. But there's a lot of content on there, probably 30 or 40% that's free.
Free content's important. Yeah, that's good to know.
There's articles. I mean, you just have to look around and you'll find something to fit what you're looking for. There's something for everyone.
And if you attend any of our events, it's like any of the Zoom events, that's all. So even if eventually it goes on the pro tips as a recording that may go into the exclusive for ISA Connect members, if you just attend live, you get it for free. All of our events are free.
So with the Zoom meeting, I mean, how many people are logging into that? Is it just kind of like you fill a room and then it's just 2 people interviewing each other like we're doing now? Or is the audience trying to ask questions to professionals?
We have a mix of we have a panel sometimes it's 1 or 2, sometimes it's just straight to camera, somebody doing a class.
Okay.
But yeah, it could be 200 people, it could be 500 people, just depends on the person. We get a lot of replays. That's where, a couple thousand people replay and watch on the pro tips page.
Yeah.
A lot of our Connect members are spending a lot of time there, but the majority if you don't have a Connect membership, you still have access. So there's room to jump on.
Yeah.
Go ahead and watch.
Yeah. And then if you do have questions, we have the Q&A box open during those chats so that the guests can answer some of the questions from everybody attending.
Yeah, that's pretty great. We utilized the Zoom thing during our Script Summit this year, because the whole point of the summit is to get everybody together. It's a summit, But
Right.
so we had to do the Zoom thing this year. So we're doing our classes and we've got people firing. I was like, oh, I'm trying to like keep up with the comments. So I can
It's
only
a lot,
imagine.
right?
I can only imagine with 500 people are firing away questions. Yeah, that could
Yeah,
be
it's fun
something.
to watch that chat box just keep
Yeah.
scrolling through, and yeah.
The moderators are probably going nuts. All right, so very good. So blogs, podcasts, we've pretty much. I don't know. We've covered everything on my end. Is there anything else
Almost.
going on? What's missing?
We also vet and post resources, such as contests that we talked about a little bit,
Okay.
consultants, events, classes. So that's offerings from other people. Not some are the ISA
Right.
offerings, but some are like Script Summit or
Yeah.
or We Fixed Your Script or
Thank you.
yeah.
Well, I like that. I like that you vet it, right? Because I mean that's a big deal to make sure that there's nothing but quality getting out there. Because what that tells me is that you're trying to protect the community.
Absolutely.
And that's a big deal because when you get newer screenwriters out there, they don't know where to go. They don't know what works. They don't know what doesn't. I remember when I started, a manager approached me and he said, I will manage you for $700 a month.
Oh my God.
And I went, I got to pay you. And he goes, yeah. And I said, I don't think that's right. And now I was lucky enough when I first started to know, but there's other people out there that don't, and they're paying some huckster out there. Yeah. So I love that you're protecting the community. It's absolutely wonderful. And you've already told me what's going on next with that was going to be my big final question, Craig, is what's coming up and what's new with ISA.
No, there's a lot more coming.
Is there?
Yeah.
You got any more nuggets for me?
Well, I mean, the goal will be to make it make it even easier to use the site.
Okay.
And to be steered towards great articles that may fit in your interests, right? Like if you're a horror writer, if there's a horror event, if there's a horror contest or whatever. So we're building an algorithm to kind of steer you in the right direction. But then you can go because there's a lot of crossover, and that's really important, right? So just because you write horror or have submitted to a horror contest doesn't make you definitively a horror writer. And I would suggest that you not be just a horror writer.
Yeah.
Take your interest and write into other space, Speaking of space, I see you're a Star Wars fan.
Just a little bit, huh? I'm a Gen Xer. I mean, it's in my blood, man.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, I love the fact that you guys are kind of give it an overhaul and make it more tailor made for writers to really kind of. I mean, from what I'm getting from this, sounds like that help them find their tribe even better, which I think is really important. It's funny that you were talking about horror scripts. I wrote a horror comedy and I submitted it to a horror contest. They said it was too funny. I submitted it to a comedy contest. They said it was too scary.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, then I submitted it to an indie fest and they loved it. Says, oh, okay, I found my tribe. So again, like you were saying earlier, it's subjective and you have to kind of find out where you're going.
We're in a good place with the industry wanting a lot of that crossover material, right?
Yeah.
So even if there is, I think a lot of those organizations, contests, whatever, that do focus in those areas, they definitely have value to the industry, but I think they're even expanding their range, right? I can't imagine that people who are just 100% focused on comedy aren't realizing the value of the genre crossover and how much more industry pros are looking for that. Because I feel like when we had Pilar on last night, she was talking about breaking some of the rules of writing.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me that one of the scripts that I've been developing does that. It breaks a rule where it leads you on one path down one type of storyline and in basically one genre, and then it turns and goes down a slightly different one. And that's part of my voice. And I think what's authentic to who I am as a writer is to take you into this, what feels like kind of a psychological thriller, and actually end up with a spiritual message, right? Like a bigger picture message. So hopefully it's working. I feel like it's working. But that, I think, is take everybody on a journey. Even if you have a comedy horror, how are you steering them uniquely, as yourself, as your unique voice? That's one of the things that we're trying to encourage more and more on the site.
I love the fact that you're currently developing a script and you're actively writing, even as somebody that is the founder of the ISA. That is I mean, that's awesome because it says you are a writer's writer. And the fact that you're working on genre bending is great. I think we have a similar voice because I actually wrote a rom-com. I wrote a thriller, but it starts out as a rom-com, and I kill the girl you think is the central character at page 10, the inciting incident. That's the inciting incident. And then you follow the character that kills her throughout the story. And it becomes this really intense psychological thriller because then she comes back alive and then you don't know if you killed her or not. And it's this big mind trip. It did really well on festivals, but that kind of genre bending is getting more popular, more approach to it. Yes. And I think that, I think you're right. I think that is kind of the new direction. You're seeing a lot more shows that are starting to kind of, like Fringe, for instance. Fringe was very sci-fi, but it was very horror. And it didn't do well at the time, but I think it's because it was ahead of its time.
Right. I loved that show.
Yeah, but it was like, people were like, it was always on the fence if it was going to get renewed. But I think now you're starting to see more stuff like that. And yeah, so very good. Guys, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, for sure.
This was a lot of fun.
The International Screenwriters Association, everybody. That's where you're going to go. ISA for shorthand. And find their network. A real pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
Pierce, thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share in your social media where you can tag us at The Successful Screenwriter.